What's up, guys? Thanksgiving is almost here, which means it's turkey time. And a lot of you have asked me how would I go about cooking a turkey on the Ninja FlexFlame grill. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. I have about a 15-pound bird here, and I have gone ahead and let it thaw in the refrigerator, and I took out the neck bone and the bag of organs. You can save that for gravy if you want to. I also rinsed it just to make sure that I got all of the ice crystals off, and then I like to pat it dry and set it on a rack, because you think that you got this thing totally dry and it'll still drip a lot of liquid, which will collect in the pan. So if you put it on the rack while you're doing all this process, any of that excess liquid is gonna collect in the pan. Now, if you want a super juicy bird, definitely go ahead and brine it. I've got a full recipe on my website for how to do that. It explains the brine recipe itself, plus how long you want to go ahead and brine it. But we're not going to brine this bird today, because mainly I want to just kind of show you how to cook it on the FlexFlame. Couple things here. This is the turkey tail. I do like to go ahead and cut that off. You can use a knife or a pair of scissors, whichever you prefer. And I throw that in here with my bucket of organs and neck, because again, this is great for making broth or for making your gravy. We're going to start with just 2 ingredients. That's a stick of butter and my chicken rub. I also have a recipe on my website for turkey rub, but the chicken rub works great on all poultry, so it's great for this. I'm gonna take this stick of butter and unwrap it, and I'm gonna just cut it into 5 pieces. You don't have to be perfect by any means, but what we're gonna do with these pieces is stick them right into the bird to make it extra juicy and kind of help caramelize that skin. All right, the first place we're gonna stick a stick of butter is right between the skin and the chicken breast. So you're gonna gently lift it, slide your hand right down in there and create a pocket, and take one of those sticks of butter and just kind of place it in there. Then go to the other side. You'll see that it's kind of connected right here on the breastbone, so that's why you create 2 pockets. And then you just slide a piece right in there. Next, I like to stick a piece inside. You could actually add a whole half a stick of butter in there if you want to. And then look for the pocket right down here. This is kind of below the breast by the thigh. Same thing on this side. Just kind of lift the skin, feel down in there, and you'll create a pocket. And stick that right in there. And that's all you have to do with the butter. The next part of the prep is purely for aesthetics. I like to take the wings and kind of bend them and tuck them under. Just those wing tips. You're gonna tuck those right under there. That helps give you a nice little steady presentation. And then I wanna tie these legs together. Now, if you want, you can add a ton of flavor inside the cavity of this bird. You could add some more butter, of course, but I sometimes do celery, onions, lemons, carrots, fresh herbs, you name it. So feel free to add some more flavor in there if you want to. Otherwise, we're just gonna close this up. I just take a piece of butcher's twine, tie it to one leg, and then I pull this other leg and kind of just wrap it around to secure it. That's all we're doing, is keeping its legs closed. That way you're keeping the steam kind of inside of the cavity, as well as any herbs or flavors that you put in there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and pat this dry one more time. If I have the time, which I try to do for Thanksgiving, I will actually leave it in the refrigerator like this for a couple of hours, and that way kind of that excess moisture will evaporate. That ensures super crispy skin. But again, for today's video, I'm mainly showing you the cooking process on the Ninja FlexFlame. So we're gonna go ahead and season this up and then get it on the grill. As I said, I'm using my Girls Can Grill chicken rub. You can find this online, you can find it on Amazon, you can find it at all the Shields and Fleet Farm stores. It's all over the place. You guys pick some up, it's great for Thanksgiving. And I am just gonna do a nice coat all the way around. However, I don't really worry about the bottom, because if you put it on the bottom and then you flip your turkey over, then all the seasoning comes off and it just kind of becomes a mess. And we don't really eat the bottom of turkey anyway, so just sprinkling the top and the sides is perfectly fine. Now, with some meats, like ribs or pork, you'll want to do a binder, like a mustard or something. But I find with poultry, if you do a binder, sometimes your rub actually comes off. So I like my skin to be super dry. That helps it stick. If I do oil, Sometimes it just gets kind of smeary. Be super generous with the rub because it's a huge piece of meat. Like I said, today we're cooking a 15-pounder. Getting the sides can be kind of tricky. You want to make sure that you get the wings. Just kind of lift it where you can. Sprinkle some inside the cavity, get up under the legs. I'll kind of show you guys what I'm talking about here. All right, that looks pretty good. So now what we're gonna do is go fire up the Ninja FlexFlame. I'm gonna set it to the smoke setting with a temperature of 300 degrees. You don't wanna cook turkey at too low of a temperature, otherwise your skin will get rubbery. So I like to do it at 300. Be sure to add some pellets if you want that smoke flavor. And we are gonna need to add pellets every 30 minutes or so because they're gonna burn out by the time this fully finishes cooking. So let's go preheat that grill, and I'm gonna let this rest at room temperature to kind of absorb the flavors of the rub. All right, my grill's ready, 300 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and add the turkey. I am gonna take it off the rack. Just set it right on the center and let it smoke. While the turkey's smoking, I'm gonna do two more things. In this pan, I have the neck, the tail, some onion, a little bit of chicken rub, and the organs, and I added some water. I'm gonna set this on the smoker next to the turkey so that we can make some gravy. Just gonna let that smoke up. I'm also throwing my potatoes on the smoker. Just spread them out. This is a nice shortcut because once they bake up, you can basically just take the peels right off and make mashed potatoes. Super simple. The turkey's been on the smoker for about 2 hours, and I went ahead and pulled these potatoes off. They reached 210 degrees internal temperature. That's exactly what I'm looking for. They're super soft and ready to peel and mash. Now, what I'm gonna do to help the skin, even though it already looks beautiful, but I just wanna really kind of crisp it up some. So I've got a stick of melted butter. I'm adding about a tablespoon of soy sauce. I like the umami I get from that, plus it also adds to the nice color. And then I'm gonna put in about, I don't know, a teaspoon or so of my chicken rub, just for some more flavor. And I'm gonna head back out to the smoker and brush this glaze right on the turkey. The giblets here have plenty of smoke. I'm gonna take this off of the smoker. You mainly wanna make sure that they reach 165 degrees so they're cooked fully through. Then we're gonna use this liquid to make our gravy. This bird is looking so good. I'm gonna go ahead and check the temperature. I like to kind of go down here in the thigh. We're at 139, 140, which is great. That means it is time to add some of this glaze. This is the butter, soy sauce, and chicken rub. I can hear the crispiness of the skin already. This is just gonna give it even more flavor. I am finding that cooking on the Ninja FlexFlame is going a little bit faster than when I cook it on some of my other smokers. Usually I'm at the 2.5 hour mark when I apply my glaze. And right now we're only at the 2 hour mark. So this is gonna cook up nice and fast. We got the smoke flavor by adding the pellets, and it should be nice and juicy on the inside and crispy outside. And we wanna keep cooking this to 160, 165 degrees. All right, while I'm finishing up the turkey, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the gravy. So this is the pan where I had some broth and onion and some of the gizzards and the neck and the tail. Now, if you want, you can use this meat, you can chop it up, and you can actually put it in your gravy. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep it out, but I do like to strain off the liquid. You can see that I've got some nice fat in here along with the beautiful broth. I'm gonna give it a little taste. Picked up some smokiness and everything. We're gonna go ahead and make the gravy. Now, when you make gravy, you need some sort of a thickener. I like to use cornstarch usually, but one really important thing about cornstarch is you don't wanna add it to hot liquid, hot broth or hot water, because it actually won't dissolve very well, and instead you're gonna get clumps and you'll have lumpy gravy. So what I have here is a 1/4 cup of cold water with a tablespoon of cornstarch. I'm gonna heat up our turkey broth, and then I'm gonna add this to help thicken it. Now that the broth is boiling, I'm gonna pour in this cornstarch. And just whisk it up until it starts to thicken. And you're gonna wanna turn it down to low and just let it kind of simmer. Good gravy needs seasoning, so add about a teaspoon or so more of chicken rub right into the gravy. You'll know it's ready when it starts to coat your spoon. So this looks great. This is the thickness that I'm looking for. I added just a pinch of salt, but you can just keep this warm, keep this on simmer, or just let it cool to room temp and reheat it a little bit in the microwave when dinner's ready. All right, and now that the gravy is heating up, I'm gonna show you my cool potato trick. Remember, these are soft now. So all you have to do is cut them and kind of squeeze them into your bowl. If you like some skins, you can keep some skins. Otherwise, just take the skins. They just peel right off. This is so much easier than peeling potatoes the hard way. So much faster too. And you get really good flavor because these were on the smoker with the smoke. If you want, you can also use a spoon and kind of scrape it out. Get as much of the meat of the potato as you can. And again, I'm cool with a few skins in here, but if you've got people who are picky, then go ahead and pick them all out. Totally up to you. Then use either a fork or a potato masher and mash them until they are nice and soft and creamy. And then we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients to season these up. To build on the flavor, I'm gonna add 6 tablespoons of melted butter. You basically wanna use 1.5 tablespoons of butter for every potato that you bake up. Then I like them super creamy, so I'm gonna use milk. You can also use half and half. You can use heavy cream. And do about a half a cup of that. About a half a cup of chicken broth, or you could use homemade turkey broth. Give that a stir. And then I like to take my potato masher again and really get in there because I like pretty soft potatoes. If you like them to be a little bit lumpy, then don't mash them so much. And then it's important to season your potatoes. So in keeping with the poultry flavors, we're gonna add just a little bit of my chicken rub, along with some kosher salt. Give that a nice blend and mix, and I'm gonna give them a taste. So easy and no peeling. All right, it's time to check the turkey. Like to insert the probe into the center. Yeah, 165 is exactly where we want this. So now I'm gonna turn off the grill and let this rest. All right, my turkey is done. As a rule of thumb, you want to plan on about 1 hour of cook time for every 4 pounds of turkey. So if you have a 16-pound turkey, that's going to take about 4 hours. This was right around a 15-pound bird, so it took between 3.5 to 3 hours and 45 minutes. Now it's time to take it off the smoker. Nice. Now I like to let my turkeys rest for 30 to 45 minutes. You want to tent it loosely with foil. You don't want it to steam because then all the crispy skin is going to get soggy. So just loosely tent it. And then during that 30 to 45 minute period, that's a great time to put the rest of your sides on the smoker, like your smoked mac and cheese, your stuffing, your green bean casserole. All that stuff can go on here right now while this is resting. The turkey's been resting. It is time to cut into this. The first thing I'm doing is removing the butcher's twine that I put around the legs to tie them together. It's so crispy. I'm excited for this. Okay, I'm gonna get in here and cut off one of these legs, and I want you to just listen to how crispy this skin is. Oh, it smells so good. Just the right amount of smoke, plus my chicken rub. It's always a little tricky to find the joint. There it is. That is a turkey leg that Disneyland would be proud of. Let's go into the other side. Oh yeah, that one was super easy to find the joint. It just fell right apart. When it's cooked to perfection, that's usually what happens. All right, I'm gonna go into this turkey breast now. Now when you slice a turkey breast, there's a breastbone in the center, and then there's 2 pieces of breast meat. You wanna go just to the side of the breastbone and slice down, then you wanna slice underneath. And then you'll go to the other side and do the same thing with the other piece of breast meat. So I'm going down. You wanna try to kind of feel for that breastbone with the side of your knife. And then, like I said, I'm gonna come in here, kind of underneath. There'll be some extra meat left on it, and that's fine. You can pick that off later. But I find this way you can get some beautiful breast slices. I spin it around and just kind of come under this side. It is still hot. Even though it has been resting for like 45 minutes, it is still super, super hot. Nice. There you go. That is the breast meat. So now you can go ahead and slice all of this. I'm gonna get in here though and just get a taste. I like to get some skin. The skin is fantastic. That's where a lot of the smoke flavor is, and it's so herbaceous. And the breast meat is moist because we didn't overcook it. Cooking it to that 160, 165 mark is perfect. I'm gonna go in here, slice up some of this turkey breast. The skin always tends to slide off, that's fine. But just make sure that you serve it with it. And remember, we did those no peel mashed potatoes, which was a huge time saver. Just threw them on the smoker right there with the turkey. We made that homemade gravy out of the giblets. I'm gonna get in here and get one more bite before I sign off. The total flavors of Thanksgiving, you guys. If you guys follow this recipe on your Ninja FlexFlame, you're gonna have an amazing holiday meal. Be sure to hit that subscribe button though so you don't miss any more recipes that I cook up on the FlexFlame for the holiday season. More videos like this one. Thanks for watching, guys.